Welcome to the Focus on Why podcast. I'm Amy Rowlandson and I ask my guests one simple question. Why? Focusing on the importance of why, I share with you the relatable, uplifting and inspiring conversations I have with people from all walks of life. This podcast will encourage you to focus on your why to enable and empower you to achieve the success you desire. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why. Today on the Focus on Why podcast, I am joined by Danny Gray from War Paint for Men. Welcome, Danny.
Hi, thank you for having me on, Amy.
Oh, I'm so excited because I have been following your journey ever since I chanced watched Dragon's Den. I don't watch much telly, and I just saw you. We're just flicking through the channels, and my daughter, my husband, and I were just transfixed watching your pitch. So, tell us what it is you're doing.
So, obviously, Danny Gray, I'm a founder of a company called War Paint for Men, which is a men's makeup only focused cosmetic brand that I launched back in November 2018, specifically designed for a male audience, break down the stereotypes and make men's makeup mainstream is like the overall goal for the brand. So that's what I'm doing now. And
we're in 2020 now. How has this only just come to the forefront?
Good question. So for me, look, men's makeup has always been around. I haven't invented men's makeup. I haven't introduced it to the market. It's always been there. But because of society and, perceptions of men wearing makeup, especially even 10 years ago or 5 years ago, I think it was a bit of a taboo subject. So when brands have tried previously to launch male-focused cosmetic brands, I think it's failed because the market probably isn't ready. So look, this isn't new. Men have been doing it. And I think with the movement as well, if you look at, I always make the analogy, so skincare and grooming absolutely exploded in men for the last sort of 10 years or so. And the reason men moisturize, the men look after themselves more so now than ever. They don't do it for anyone else, right? You don't moisturize to make you live another 10 years. You moisturize because it gives you less wrinkles, so you get more confidence. So the whole thing about my brand is confidence. But what traditionally always been is, well, you can do all of that. You can go down the gym, you can buy nice clothes, you get your hair cut now. Men get their hair cut 3 times every 3 weeks instead of every 6 weeks. Then do all of that. But look, if you've got acne, scars, blemishes, dark circles, you're a guy, you should just get on with it. And that's the stereotype that I'm trying to break down and remove completely, because then guys see the benefits of a product like makeup and how, honestly, for me, how life-changing it was. So I don't think it's the case. I just think the time's right. I think it's like the perfect storm where society now, you even look at guys doing hair transplants and, it's all just, I've had a hair transplant. I didn't even need to have a hair transplant because of my mental health. But, people, when I tell them, they're like, oh my God, it looks amazing. It's not like, oh, what are you doing? Where 10 years ago, it would have been, I got absolutely ribbed for it. So I think the mindsets have changed a lot. So I just think the timing's right now for this to become mainstream and get other guys benefiting from it.
And it's gone pretty fast, hasn't it? I mean, you launched it back in September 2018. Is that when it went live?
No, yeah, November actually, 2018, the 1st November. So what's that, like 18, 19 months? And it's just been an absolute roller coaster. And, I always knew there was a market for this, but even in that short space of time since we launched the whole, there was no media attention to it 19 months ago. Now there's a lot of retailers talking to it. And I'll be honest, I think a lot of it is down to us, sort of spearheading that, I don't want to call it a revolution, but just making it in the public eye and getting the reaction. But yeah, it's been like, I don't know, I have to pinch myself a lot of the time about it. It's just it's crazy. It was me and I had a young 19-year-old girl working in a flat 90 months ago. Now, we've got almost double-digit staff, just took a bigger round of investment, offices in London, like launching retail across the world, and then all the press we've had as well in 18 months. I just couldn't, thank my lucky stars, really.
It was good timing, but it's also, I think, because of your why. Tell us why you set it up.
Yeah, so like 20 years ago, I got bullied in middle school because my ears were sort of right angles to my head. They did poke out a lot. They were that bad, my mum wouldn't let me go out when it was windy. No, but seriously, they were really bad. And, I was bullied only for a couple of weeks and then the bullying stopped, but that stayed with me for the rest of my life. And I started really sort of taking a notice of my own appearance. And then growing up, sort of 13, 14, 15, started getting spots like most young men do. And my sister literally gave me a stick of concealer. And honestly, when she put it on, I couldn't believe, I've been worried about these spots for so long. I couldn't believe what a product could do and how much it could make you feel better and confident. So I've literally been wearing makeup ever since that, for the last 20 years. I'm 34 now. It's going to be 35 very soon. Growing up for those 20 years, I always found three key things for me. One was that I can relate to a brand as a man. Second of all, there's nowhere for me to go and purchase products in confidence. And thirdly, education as well. So always looking at tutorials and trying to learn from women effectively. I think it could be, it's almost, I don't want to say overcomplicated, I will say that, but everyone has their own way of putting it on, and I just wanted to do it really simply and even out my skin tone. I found it very difficult to find education, so I always had this idea about creating a brand that did all of that. I thought about it for literally 10 years, and nothing was coming up that I thought that's a wicked brand and something that I would relate to. So literally about 3 years ago, I thought, I was on the golf course with my best mate, and we're playing around the golf, and we always talk about business and like what we can do. And he said, Dan, can you stop talking about it and just do it? I promise you, I walked off the golf course that day. I sat in my car for 4 hours, and I was calling everyone I knew to try, what do I need to do to start a brand? So that's where it was really born for me, literally on that day, and then it's been full steam ahead since then.
And why then? I mean, what made you sort of suddenly say, right, I'm going to do it now?
Just because I've been looking in the market and going, there'd been one or two brands that have been around for ages, and I hate this in the other competition. But I think it's the Ask Jeeves effect, yeah. So they come out and then Google come out and make it a little bit better, and I just thought I could do a better job than that. And yeah, so I've been thinking about it for so long, and even with the reactions with my mates, right? Because I've been wearing makeup, and then my mates' mindsets had changed from, never took the mick out of me ever because they knew why I did it. But then over the last few years, they've been asking me to put it on them every time we went out. Do you know? I'm not like loads, like a bit of concealer, a little bit of foundation, maybe, like even like it's sunny at the minute, yeah, we're getting sunburn and putting even out skin tone. When we're on a lad's holiday, and I was thinking, God, like my mates now just, Dan, have you got some I'm gonna say war paint. They just say, have you got some have you got some makeup, And I was like, right, the time's now. And then I was talking, that's what made me talk about it to my best mate so much. So I just knew like the perception that we were ready, really. And the whole thing about what I talked about earlier about hair transplants, teeth whitening, teeth straightening, sunbeds. If you go back 10 years, if you had a sunbed, it was underground as a guy. You didn't talk about it. But fast forward now, you out tonight? Oh yeah, I'm running 10 minutes late. I'm gonna have a quick sunbed. All right, mate, I'll see you in a minute. That is how the whole conversation's changed, and guys now are allowed to feel that they can make themselves feel like, I don't want to say look good, but they feel themselves feel better and feel confident, not have to go, oh, well, you don't need to worry, just get on with it. So I knew the time was ready, and especially because there wasn't anything in the market, I saw the gap as well for me to do it.
So confidence seems to be the big deal here. This is what the word I'm hearing you use over and over. What does it mean for you to know that you're giving people confidence?
You know what? That has been so overwhelming. Ever since a lot of stuff's happened to us as a brand. Like we've gone viral 4 times. Like first time was very negative, really negative across the world. And then now to have I'm not boasting about it or anything. The amount of messages we get as a brand and personally as well that I do, I can show you my Instagram now. Like I've literally got 900 messages, all of them from guys just saying, I love what you're doing. And like I've suffered, or I've always been wearing it and never felt comfortable. To know we're doing that as a brand is it's unbelievable. I just don't think that happens very often with brands. Do you know what I mean? Like if they come out, it's not very often that I think you get that sort of, I don't want to call it fanfare because it's not, just like people believing in what you're doing as a brand. And it's honestly why I'm doing it, because I know the amount of men that are in my position, or not as severe as me, but guys are conscious. You put a spot on the end of a guy's nose, 9 out of 10 guys are going to be conscious about it, a massive spot. So let's just give them the tools. And all I'm doing is creating a choice. That's all I want to do. Give people, let's have female brands, male brands, and gender neutral brands, and give people a choice. Before I just felt there was a choice, but it was very minimal, and the whole perception around it was, well, you shouldn't be using it. So I just think give anyone a choice, let them do what I do, and then they can get that confidence that makes you be the real you. Without makeup, I'm not my normal self. But like a lot of women do as well, right? Women don't wear makeup for themselves. They don't wear it for other people. 90% of women wear it for themselves because it makes you feel more confident and like you can face the day, or it just makes you feel better, like more confident. So guys are we're exactly the same. Guys have that feeling too.
And why did you get so much negativity when you first launched?
Well, when we first launched, it was actually, so it's funny. We launched November 2018. I had my year's plan, and first month I said 2.5 grand sales. We did 11. Second month we did 28. Third month we did 38 grand. I'm like, holy, do you know what I mean? This is actually going to work. Fast forward May 2019, we put an advert out on Twitter to test the Twitter market, and it was a bit of a mistake. So, when I launched brand, what I wanted to do was break down the stereotypes. I used like models with tattoos, like musty guys, because that hadn't been done before, right? So that's why I wanted to do that at that point. And so Twitter just exploded. Like, I was actually at my sister's at her birthday, and the girl who worked for me called me up saying we've gone viral and it's not positive. I was like, what? Looked at the views. It was literally 200,000. 10 minutes later, 500,000, 750, 1.2 million, 8 million views in 24 hours. We're trending #1 in the world on that day. And all the negativity was around men. Men don't need their own brand, or just walk into Sephora and buy a female brand. And, we were racist because we didn't have enough shades, war paint, we were racist again. And, the barrage of abuse we got was unbelievable. But what did happen, literally came in the next day, the phone was off the hook. Like, it was on ABC News, every newspaper in the UK. It was literally in everything, and everyone wanted a statement. And, I just let them get on with it. Let them get on with that argument. What that did do, though, was start this whole conversation about men's makeup, where before no one had wrote any main articles about it. And at the time, I thought my life was over. I thought my brand was finished. I was so emotional, it was unbelievable. Very quickly, though, we started getting a lot of messages personally, because saying I love what you're doing. We had record sales for like 5 days. But what people won't do on Twitter, if you're one out, if 100 people arguing, you're not going to walk into a fight like that, are you? So personally, then I started thinking, actually, is it the worst thing in the world? And quite quickly, then we got a brand. Do you know what I mean? People knew about us quite quickly, and it started the whole conversation. So I always say, as a brand, we took a lot of bullets. Like, it was unbelievable what happened to us. It doesn't happen. Getting on ABC main news, America, good morning. That doesn't happen. But it taught me a lot. The worst thing than people talking about you are people not talking about you as a business. So that was the positive out of it. But yeah, I just think, and 80% of the backlash, by the way, was from women on Twitter.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. So,
and I mean, Twitter is known for being vocal. Why did you choose sort of the Twitter audience instead of sort of Instagram or LinkedIn?
Yeah, we actually we were growing the business through LinkedIn, through Instagram, Facebook, social, and then we tried Twitter. Just for a new audience. I don't know. We're thinking about, I'm going to do it again soon, with some great content, because I just think, out of all those people talking about it, the amount of people. So when people look at views, on Instagram, views, how many likes they've got, it's a load of rubbish, right? It's the invisible ones you want to watch. And what I mean by invisible views are, so if I put something out on LinkedIn, I get quite a little. I haven't been on LinkedIn that long. I get quite a lot of traction with my posts and stuff like that. It's not the people who've commented, right? It's the other people who've looked at it and watched it, who see it. Like, for example, Virgin Atlantic. I walked into Virgin, who we're launching with, and she was like, "I'm just so pleased to meet you. I've been watching you on LinkedIn." And I walked up to the receptionist. She knew who I was in Virgin, because that's the power of it. So this whole thing was going on with Twitter. but it gets people talking about the brand, and a lot of people, even if they're not shouting negative, they're probably thinking positive in their head, thinking, "Oh, I really like that brand," and that's what happened. So yeah, it wasn't a it was a knee-jerk reaction to do a Twitter ad, but look, I wouldn't take it back now. I'll do it again. So because it started the whole conversation and made publications start writing about it.
And to walk us through how you formed the brand and how you chose the name.
Do you know what? I watched I don't know, it was about 8 years ago. I watched something and a woman said, "I'm going to put my war paint on." And I was like, "That's it. That's it." And women have been using that as a slang for makeup for years, or older generation have, especially. And I heard it, I was like, "That's it. It says exactly what it is." And I think it's quite a masculine name. And that's the first thing with a brand name. Some companies, it doesn't make a difference, right? Like about how much it can impact your business. But something that I was doing, it was absolutely crucial. Do you know what I mean? And I think with something like that, I think you've got to be very careful. And I just knew that was the name where, other organizations can name them what they want because it doesn't really relate to their brand or what they're selling. Where with me, I need to break down stereotypes. So I think it said what it was. And it was, guys, when guys go out, it's the same thing. They're getting ready. It's like you're going out to battle. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what we used to say. Let's have a good game tonight when we were going out. So I just loved it as soon as I heard it. And then luckily we managed to get it trademarked, which was really difficult because it's slang for makeup. They turned it down first, but then I spent quite a bit of money on lawyers in that field to get it to get overturned. And I'm so glad that I did.
And what is your demographic, or who is your demographic? Who uses your war paint for men?
So this is the other interesting thing. What I always knew, that demographic isn't a 22-year-old who lives at home, goes down the gym every day, goes out on the lash, and he's got one focus in mind, and that's why he wants to use makeup to his best. This is for men, right? It's the same as women. You can't put demographic on what women wear makeup. It's exactly the same. And the customer base we have, I'll tell you now, 30% of our customers are over 50 years old. And that's amazing for me because it doesn't matter how old you are, confidence never goes. When John Lewis, that's why I wanted to launch in John Lewis, and I pushed them so much because I wanted to break down stereotype about what age of customer, the average age of a department store shopper, especially in John Lewis, is like 48. But I knew would sell product. The first two customers who sat down, 61 and 63. Straight guys, bought product like it was nothing. And John Lewis couldn't believe it. But I was like, well, I knew this would happen. And that's why it's such a big marketing opportunity because, it's not a tiny demographic.
So you just started this business and you probably didn't realize it was going to go as global as quickly as it had. What background did you have in building your own business and branding?
So building the only other business I've run, there was a bouncy castle company when I was 16. On the weekend, I couldn't even drive. I had my mate driving, dropping the vans off. Bought 3 bouncy castles for 900 quid. And then sold the business later on for a substantial return. 10x, there you go. And then I also ran my father's car business for about I was quite young, I was about 22, doing that with a few staff. And then I was in the corporate world. But I've always been, my dad was an entrepreneur and I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. All his brothers were. For me, that's why I left school at 16, because I just want to go out and earn money. And I was always thinking about things to do and wanting to work for myself. And I think, anyone can run a business, but I think to have that drive in you to be like that, and I would learn everything. Yeah. So I want to know everything about the business as well. So, but I have no direct, this is my first big one, effectively, like everything on the line.
And has it been an easy ride?
Do you know what? I think if you ask anyone who starts a business, it's never an easy ride, but it's the hardest thing I've ever done, but it's absolutely the best thing I've ever done in my life. And, the stress of knowing that when you're a founder, everything, when you work in the corporate world, you're always looking up. Yes, it doesn't matter where you are in a business, unless you're CEO, chair, you've got your chairs, but you're always looking up. And then to be the one who everything has to come from you, or the majority of it, and how to drive the business can be quite scary to start with. And the learnings is unbelievable because there's stuff, don't even think about. Like, I don't know, just the first thing in my head is about like our packaging. Like, what do we need to have on the packaging? Well, I don't know. I'm not a specialist in it, but you had to learn, so I think I don't think everyone's born to do it, but I've always had that drive.
And when I saw you on Dragon's Den that time and you were pitching, what was going through your mind as you were delivering that pitch?
Can I swear?
You can swear.
Share myself, basically. So I don't know, like before you go on, it's obviously really nerve-wracking because you're literally waiting to go on and they're there. But I was very nervous. Like as long as I feel right myself, I'm quite confident. And especially with Warpaint as a brand, you know what? I was confident about the brand. I was confident I knew what I knew. I was confident I'll have an answer for pretty much anything they're going to ask because we'd had such a good start. I thought I knew the market. That's not being arrogant again, but you're still so nervous energy. So after the worst bit was the opening pitch because you've got to sort of not script it, but know what you're saying. Do you know what I mean? Where if I'm talking to someone, that's it. I'd rather don't tell me any questions you're going to ask me and just ask me a question. But I was absolutely, it's weird. So in that elevator, when it's going 1, 2, 3, my gut was going all over the shop.
And you went personal. You explained the story, and you could see they were all hooked straight away. I mean, it was a great delivery of, but it was so personal. And I think that's what the difference was. Your why is coming through the brand straight from the word go, and you had all 5 dragons fighting over you. It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was. Do you know what all I wanted to do with that is say, because look, a lot of people, which isn't a bad thing, you find a gap in the market and you create a brand to solve a problem effectively. But this for me was like, I just wanted to get across that I'm not just doing this to make a quick buck, and like I'm doing this because I 100% believe in it, and I wanted to get a message across and to tell them why, because I don't want to just I'm not just starting this brand just because I saw a niche and what's special about that. I'm doing it because I think I'm the customer. I'm the target audience that I'm going for. So I wanted to prove that I knew what I thought I would want. So when people say, what does this brand need to be? I thought I knew because I was that exact customer, which is quite rare a lot of the time. So I told them about my personal experiences, and you're in there for a long time as well. That it's very edited down what you saw, and they asked me a lot of questions. So because they want to understand why you're doing this and what's your purpose and what's your views on the brand. So yeah, it was to get all 5 as well. I promised you now, I did not expect it, because like anything, it's like Marmite, right? Especially because we've been viral in May. I was like, this could go completely wrong. And when I first went in there, they grilled me. They really do. And I think they always going to do that. Any investment you go into, you sit down, they grill you for everything because they want to see any holes. And I was thinking, oh my God, this isn't going well. And then all of a sudden, like after I batted off a few questions and, to what I thought I did all right, straight then their whole persona changed, and it was just unbelievable. They were so complimentary, and it was amazing. Like the whole Peter Jones just like he hardly didn't say a lot and just come out with saying I'm blown away. And when he said that, I think you could see the relief from me a little bit, because that's the first real time it was like I just get it and I love it. So it was an emotional as well. Like draining, I was absolutely ruined when I come off.
Yeah, you could see all of that, and I was shouting at the screen. It's like, don't take the deals. You do it on your own, because when somebody is fighting over it so much, you can see, well, actually, he's got something really special here, and he should just work out how best he can fund that business elsewhere and not give away too much of a stake in the business, because it's just so brilliant, and you'd be regretting that for the rest of your life if you'd sort of sold a part of you away.
That's it, yeah, and I think. I went in at the thing is with my valuation at that point, we turned over 200 grand within like 5 months, 4 or 5 months from a standing start. I valued the business at £1 million. When you got to, that was for me was a very fair valuation. So I was quite, and then when they came in at like 20% to begin with, it was miles away. So I was like, my house, absolutely no way. But to be fair, I did not expect all 5. And when all 5 did it, I actually was like, oh my God, like, I was knackered, and I thought, what am I going to do? So that when I went to the back, I was like, right, what do I like? I didn't expect it, so it was almost
Yeah.
making me. When they were all going, yeah, I'll be honest, I wasn't excited. I was almost like, oh God, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And so I just went back and I was like, right, I'm going to turn it on them a little bit. So, well, what can you bring? And I'm going to be quite aggressive, And I did want Tage and Peter before we went in there, so that's why I sort of halfway through, because they all started coming like, well, we can go together, and I was a bit like, well, look, these are the guys. Let's just focus on that. So it was amazing experience. When I come off, and when you're in it, you're in a massive bubble when you're doing it, because I didn't realise how well it went until I came off, and like people were like, oh my God, like literally, like one of the girls was in tears, when I come off, and I was like, no, you don't know what you don't know. And to be fair, the only time I got upset was really badly. It was when I come out, I call my missus up, and then you're outside and it's over, and then you realise like you got all fine and went well. I was in bits, So because it's everything, because of all your environment, mate. If that was perceived poorly, the brand's knackered. And there was a lot of pressure on it, a lot of pressure going into there.
But you've since been to retailers and the brand is not knackered, is it?
Yeah, no, not at all. Like I thought if we got negative in there, we definitely would. But luckily, like after that, we didn't go ahead with the deal in the end with them. But like literally off the back of that airing, we were speaking to retailers previously to that, but it just sped the whole process up a lot quicker. So, very quickly launching Harvey Nichols across all stores, John Bell Croydon, Jarrold's, launching Virgin Atlantic. We've got some others I can't mention, which are absolutely huge. And obviously we're launching John Lewis. But the reaction we got after it cut, so I was all round, because the other thing is, well, you don't know how they're going to edit you to look as well. And they were all around my sisters. We had like loads, there was about 60 of us around there to watch it. And, that was so emotional because quite quickly you could see it was going to come across all right. And, and then we literally started watching our phones, and, well, I wasn't. People come up to me going, Dan, you're trending. Like, you're trending everywhere. Like the No Stocks Man, or Danny for Brexit, and, best one in 14 years, the Daily Mail put the next day. And just again, like, I think that's normal. I think that's normal to get a reaction. And I just couldn't believe it. I was like, with all my mates there, it was just amazing, because they knew as well that when we've gone viral negatively, everyone had seen that, all my family and that. So just to get that reaction was just, I'll never forget it.
And to know that you're helping men struggle with stuff they just don't need to be struggling with, how does that make you feel?
It gave me big goosebumps, you just saying that a bit, because, I forget that a lot of the time. I don't, but it's weird. I can't imagine that it's me that's helping these people. Do you know what I mean? I just can't take it in. I really can't, because it's like, I've created a brand, and it's generally like the message we get, and to think that that's what you're doing. Like someone the other day before lockdown coming from France to interview me. Right, he's doing a dissertation for his thing, and he came all the way from France to interview me for like half an hour. Obviously, I gave him a lot longer than that after realising he'd come all the way from France just to see me. He just said, I had to come and see you because I'm doing a thing about makeup, dissertation. And he says, you've literally just created history. That's going to be remembered forever. And the amount of men you can help. And I just started crying again, because I was like, you forget sometimes. I think that's what you got to do in business, is sometimes is stop, and it's a boxing fight. Every round is harder, and then every opponent after you beat one gets harder and bigger and heavier and undefeated. And sometimes you've got to stop and just think, look what we've achieved, rather than thinking, we've got to go to the next level, which I'm always thinking. And just to get stuff like that, even users saying that, makes me, God, like, if it all finished now, I'll be proud of what I've done. And that's what you got to think. Just be proud of what you've done, because you can get carried away with what you should be doing or what you've got to hit and the pressures of it, where you should just think, we've been the first ever in John Lewis. It was the first ever men's makeup counter in a men's section in a retail department in the world.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Well, no, I'm not saying it's for you to give you that figure.
No, I am.
But like that doesn't. And when we did it, I just don't know. We've done like that's happened to the wall paint. It's just I'm just gonna. Do you know what I mean? I'm happy now. Just happy now with how it's gone.
And I think that's what's so special about the brand, is that it's coming from you. It's literally you on all of the packaging in terms of it's your heartfelt feeling about how it's changed you and led you to have more confidence. And when people open that, it's not just a bit of makeup, it's their entire confidence being reinstalled or being given to them for the first time.
Well, that's exactly right. And do you know what? People think a brand is a logo. It isn't. It's so much more than that, and you have to build that. And our makeup is amazing, right? It's manufactured in the UK. It took me a long time to find a manufacturing partner because no one wanted to speak to me because of minimum order quantities. I had to remortgage my house to do it. The makeup is quality. Like, I've designed it. It's my formulation. But the makeup isn't what people are buying here. The makeup, they are, because the makeup is like, I'm not just saying it. We've never had one complaint from any retailer who's looked at it. Customers, the only complaints they ever have is if it's been delayed or something like that. It's very rare, the makeup. But what people buy into more is what the brand stands for and what it's trying to achieve. And I knew that, but I know that now more than ever, that you can't. And you look at it now, like how many brands like 90, or I don't know what the stat is, something ridiculous percent of business fail. And a lot of them is because people think they can do a brand by buying a t-shirt in from China, putting a name across it, and all of a sudden they've got a brand. Maybe 10 years ago when, buying in from China was difficult, but now you just can't do that. You need to have more about it. And, I've poured everything into it. I struggle to, numbers I get, right? This is a weird, numbers, I just get it. I don't really have to add stuff up. It's just, I can know what it is, where I can hardly spell. I'm slightly dyslexic. But I just, the detail I need with this brand, like I know everything, and everything in this brand is how I wanted it to be. Everything. And that's because I believe, do you know what I mean? It becomes so much like, I don't want to settle for like, oh, that'll do. I do talk about MVP though, like minimal viable product, a lot of the time, and just as long as you've got something, get it out. But yeah, it means a lot, the brand, it means a lot to me.
You can see the passion coming through, definitely. And what sort of products can people actually have? Give us an example of the range.
So yeah, to start, I want simple products, using simple way to even out your skin tone. So we launched with our concealer, tinted moisturiser, which is actually a BB cream, but I called it tinted moisturiser so men understood what it was. And it's a good entry into a product because they buy it thinking it's a moisturiser with a bit of colour in it, but it's actually a makeup with a moisturising quality in it. They put it on, they go, every time, oh my God, the skin looks amazing. You go, well, exactly, because it's actually makeup based. So this is what you can do. And there's a couple of powders, anti-shine bronzer, and then concealers, but we're not doing big bold colours, but we just launched like an eyebrow gel remover, a primer. We've got beard and brow filler coming. I've got organic aloe vera mattifying lip balm. There's loads of different things that we're adding, but not at the minute the big bold colours, because a lot of customers are coming to us for the first time. I don't want to, like, a lot of guys still get scared about colored cosmetics, and they, it has that sort of stigma probably even more attached to it, which it shouldn't, because anyone should be able to do what they want. But yeah, simple products.
And how have you managed to get the range across different ethnicities?
So yeah, well, we just with shades, I was always keen to have as many dark shades as fair shades or light shades. And we've only got a limited shade range. We're just about to double it actually. But again, costs. We got ridiculed on it in May, and same with racist. But what people don't understand, to launch a cosmetic brand is extortionate. How much money? If you want to do it properly, what you can do is go and white label products from China and put a badge on it and buy 100 units. It costs you nothing. But I want to create my own makeup, so I had to buy thousands and thousands of units in every shade. My opening order was 93 grand. That's before I sold a single product. So we've got a shade range now, but we'll be adding to it. But we just knew we had to cater for everyone, because again, there's no gender, there's no demographic. Like, everyone will be wanting to use this product.
Absolutely. And it's been really interesting hearing why your sort of need to get this product out there has evolved. But what if you hadn't have done this? What if you hadn't have just sat in that car after your golf round for 4 hours and just picked up the phone? And
do you know what? That's such a good question, because I was talking about this the other day. It scares the life out of me. Do you know that? I actually sit back and I go, can you imagine if we didn't put that advert on Twitter? Do you know what I mean? 'Cause it's such a vital part of the brand now. Can you imagine if I didn't do that? Like, if someone said to me now, would you start again? Absolutely not. Because I'll do it too right. Do you see what I'm saying? I wouldn't make any mistakes. I wouldn't learn. And the brand definitely wouldn't be where it is today. So it scares the life out of me. Like, if I didn't get out, if I didn't do that call and decide, I don't know, someone said to me, my first investor is that the day you work for yourself properly, you'll never, ever be able to go back. So to think like now to going back to work with someone else, I mean, absolute pain in the arse, if I'm honest.
Oh, it's brilliant. And it's been so lovely for you to sort of share your story with us today, Danny. It's been really magical. How do people get the products now? I mean, we're in lockdown right now, but assuming we can go back to stores, or could you buy it online? How do they get hold of it?
Yeah, you can come online. So it's www.warpaintformen.com. Just online, we can order. We're shipping. We haven't stopped shipping at all, which we're really lucky to do. Warehouse, we didn't have to shut it down or anything like that. And then in store, John Lewis, Gerald's, John Bell Croydon, Harvey Nicks across all stores. We've got a couple of massive launches coming up as well to some retailers, which will blow people away that we're in there. Going to launch with Mr. Porter as well. Launching in Australia, launching in Ireland very soon, and Asia into a big a reseller as well. So, but all online, everything's there you need.
Brilliant. So I'll put in the show notes your details, and also follow you on social media.
Yeah, Danny Gray Warpaint is my Instagram, or Warpaint for Men is our brand corporate one. So yeah, give that a follow because there's always interesting content on there. We've also got a series on the website. If someone's watching this and want to go, there's a series which is all video content for, basically it's a log or a vlog of since when we went viral in John Lewis up until now. We haven't done as many, but they're 8 minutes long. They're quite funny. It's basically I've got a full-time videographer who just follows me around filming everything.
And have you got any tutorials of how to apply the stuff?
Yeah,
the
which
stuff,
is like
the makeup.
The war paint.
Yeah.
That was a big thing for me about education. So there's tutorials on what the products are. I explain every single one, and there's actual tutorials on how to use them, different reasons. So there's loads of stuff on the website. There's loads of content, loads of videos. That's a big driver for me, video content.
Fantastic. So thank you again for coming on. Could you just leave us with a final message to the audience?
Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Check us out if you want. And my message is just do whatever you need to do to get that confidence, because I think that's what a lot of people struggle with, is confidence in different forms. And if there's any tools out there that you think you can use that will help you do it, and don't listen to anyone else, be it something that you should, people think you shouldn't be doing, because that without these tools, I wouldn't be able to do anything. So that's what I want to do. People just do whatever you need and use whatever tools to make you have that confidence, because then you'll be the real you.
Thank you for listening to the Focus on Why podcast. I'm Amy Rowlandson, and if you've enjoyed this episode, please leave me a 5-star iTunes review. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram and Facebook, and become a member of the inspiring, uplifting and positive Focus on Why Facebook group. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why.